Today's lesson is Chapter 6, Lesson 6, which can be found on pages 411 through 416. Our objective is I can multiply decimals by powers of 10. Vocabulary, powers of 10. Question 1. 10 to the third power is 1 with how many zeros behind it? If I multiply, or this is question 2, sorry. If I multiply 4 and 2/10 times 10 to the second power, I would move the decimal point blank places to the right.
Investigate multiplying by a power of 10. The goals are to evaluate 10 raised to a power, and then also to multiply by a power of 10. Let's first see if we can identify a pattern for powers of 10. Well, 10 to the first would be equal to 10. 10 to the second would be 10 times 10, which equals 100. 10 to the third, we'd multiply 3 factors of 10, which is equal to 1,000. 10 to the fourth would be 4 factors of 10, which is equal to 10,000. And 10 to the fifth would be 5 factors of 10, which is equal to 100,000. If we count the number of zeros here, notice it matches the exponent on 10. So in general, 10 to the power of n in expanded form is 1 followed by n zeros. So if we had 10 to the 8th, this would be 1 followed by 8 zeros, which would be 100 million. Now let's take a look at multiplying by a power of 10. 5 times 10 to the second is the same as 5 times 100, which is equal to 500. 2 times 10 to the third is the same as 2 times 1,000, which equals 2,000. 9 times 10 to the fourth would be 9 times 10,000, or 90,000. Before we discuss the pattern, let's look at 2 more. 14 times 10 to the second would be 14 times 100, or 1,400, or 1,400. And 273 times 10 to the third would be 273 times 1,000. Notice one shortcut would have been to just add the number of zeros that match the exponent. Here we just added 2 zeros to 5. Here we added 3 zeros to 2. Here we added 4 zeros to 9, and so on. But we also want to develop a pattern that we could use when multiplying a decimal times a power of 10. For example, if we take a closer look at this product here, the decimal point on this 9 would be just to the right, or right here. So if we had 9, and we move the decimal point to the right, the same number of places as the power on 10, so in this case 4 places to the right, we could also determine this product. So if we move this to the right 4 places, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then fill in the missing digits with zeros, notice we'd also have the product of 90,000. So when multiplying by a power of 10 with a whole number exponent, we can just move the decimal point to the right the same number of places as the exponent. Notice for 14 times 10 to the second, if we have 14, the decimal point there, move the decimal point 2 places to the right, we would have 1,400. So let's try a couple of these when multiplying a decimal times a positive power of 10. Here we have 0.5 times 10 to the second, which would be the same as 0.5 times 100. So we could do this the long way, but the shortcut is to take the decimal, 0.5, and then move the decimal point 2 places to the right. 1, 2, and then fill in the missing digits with zeros, and this would give us our product of 50. So for 1.27 times 10 to the third, which would be equivalent to 1.27 times 1,000, we'll take our decimal of 1.27 and move the decimal point 3 places to the right. So starting here, we'll move it 1, 2, 3 places. We're missing 1 digit here, so we'll add a 0. So this product will be 1,270.
All right, let's take a look in your book. I am on page 411. So in this example, it says Josh will need to make 10 payments of $32.25 to purchase a new skimboard. So what is the cost of his skimboard? So we have to do $32.25 times 10. So this is a power of 10 we can use. So remember, multiplying a decimal by 10 moves the decimal point one place to the right. So that's what they were talking about in the video, where in this case it's just 10 to the first power. So we're moving it one time to the right. Not to the left, we're moving it to the right. So here's the decimal, 32.25. Move it one place to the right, and it becomes 322.5. But we can put a 0 there because it would make more sense with money for it to be 50 cents. So the skimboard cost $322.50. All right, here's a few more examples on page 412. So in this way, they're giving you two ways, like that video talked about. If it says the decimal is 24.7 times 10 to the second power, the first way is you could just work out that 10 to the second power first, which you would work out to be 100, and then you could just do 24.7 times 100 and work it out the long ways. But as you can see, it's a little bit complicated if you work it out this way. And you would get 2,470. But the other way is that you could just move the decimal point. So this is telling us, the exponent is telling us to move it twice to the right because it's to the second power. So right now our decimal is 24.7, and it is right before that 7. So we have to move it two places to the right. So here's one place, two place. Well, we're missing a digit here. So we put that 0 on, and our answer is 2,470. All right, take a look back at these two questions and answer them in the form, please.